Of course, it's indeed the long-awaited day where the world will be coming together as one. I mean, not like where the world will be coming. The world is already coming together as one right there. Australia and New Zealand, the tournament have kick-started, and that time doesn't really look favorable to most Nigerian working personalities. But I'm so sorry. But please, I want to start the show by saying I want to indulge you. Please make sure you watch that very much game. Looking at the screen right now, the game has my mobile, right? The game has started where New Zealand is currently winning 1-0 against, the Norway side, and that's 1-0 in favor of the host country who are co-hosting with the likes of Australia. That's going to be a very big tournament. And also, the Super Falcons will be coming up in the early hours of tomorrow. That's a Friday morning, and that's going to be stated for 3:30 a.m. So you please make sure you do well to watch that game. Also, it's not long we talked about how well the MPFL season has been. Talk about how far it went. We really celebrated them, their bridge formats, the league management, the IMC, the way they play, the referee, the officiating. I mean, everything happened was top notch for me. I really would say I loved it, but it doesn't sound good to talk about this. But meanwhile, welcome to the Sports Ride. My name is Kizzy K. Let's talk about the IMC, what's really going on right now at the moment. Despite the several accolades received and raising of the bar in the run of the Nigerian Premier Football League FPL and the just concluded season, all is not well with the leadership of the interim management committee, as the top echelons of the body are engulfed fighting that may tear the fabrics of the body to pieces. According to reports on Monday at the Sandralia Hotel, Otako, Abuja, the IMC boss Honorable Benga Elegbeleye and the Chief Operating Officer Davis and Owumi were on the verge of exchanging blows. That's very bad during a meeting section that generated a shouting match. And reports say that the fighting has to do with personal interest of the highly placed individual, with Dominic Lofa at the center of the shouting. Now the match resulted, and also the shouting match resulted in using of abusive words on each other. Present at the scene of the show of shame, because this for me looks shameful, where the likes of Rivers United chairman Chief Gbala Luku, Chief Kunle Tsunami of Remo Stars, Elder Paul Basti of Accra United, Golden and Akina of Sport in Lagos, and also the top brass of the MPFL Premier clubs in the country who separated them. It was authoritatively guided that what started the fighting has to do with our club muting the idea of the body should pay courtesy visit to the Nigerian Football Federation NFF President Alhaji Ibrahim Kuzal, while also another person suggested that the appropriate thing to do is to elect an executive into the Club Owners Association before going to see NFF President. Also, elated about the NFF accent body to nominate 3 candidates into executive board members was halted from several members, and it came a thing of big intrigues on the power play and who should be in the escorts of the club owners and the NFF committee. And that's just one of the problems. Now, according to report, the IMC chairman, Honorable Benga Elegbeleye, said, quoting him on the show this morning, he said, "Do you think that I will descend so low to exchange blow with my employees? No, I can't fight physically. Yes, we had issues and disagreement between us, but basically it was between Owumi and Dominic Lofa. Owumi in a phone chat, according to report, disclosed that it's a new thing if people go into meeting and have issues, but it's a story for publication. How can you be asking me this kind of a question? If we go into a meeting, must I be saying yes? Yes." The IMC started with the responsibility of running the MPFL, and this doesn't sound good to talk about, right? In the word of IMC, talk about the NFF. It doesn't sound good, I'll tell you, trust me. Because not long I talked about this side, not long we just finished the Niger Super 8 ride at Mobolaji Johnson Arena. It was so fascinating. Everybody really loved what we saw. And we've been talking about the MPFL so far. We want to see more investors, want to see more sponsorship deals. The GTI also have been amazing. So talking about this now, look at the top-notch men who craved the event, the likes of Sporting chairman and Akina, Sunam also of Remo Star was also available in that very meeting. And for us to bring out such news, it doesn't really sound good that the IMC president, Honorable Benga Elegbeleye, is having a disagreement. I understand how it works with the head of operation, Davis and Owumi, but that's just a story for another day. We hope every issue will be settled within a short period of time. Now, let's still talk about the FIFA Women's World Cup. At this point, we will be talking about this. This sounds very bad for the Super Falcons, as Rashida, that's the name, Achibade and Halima Tayinde will miss the Super Falcons 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup Group B clash against Olympic champions Canada on Friday. The door was suspended for the encounter slated for the Melbourne Rectangular Stadium. Achibade and Ayinde were sent off in the Super Falcons semi-final defeat against host country Morocco at the 2022 African Women's Cup of Nations. Midfielder Ayinde was sent off 3 minutes after the break, while Atletico Madrid star Ajibade was expelled 20 minutes from time following a VAR review. Now, FIFA declared in a disciplinary review that the two players are not eligible to feature against the Olympic champion side, Canada. The Super Falcons will take on Canada in the early hours of Friday. That's for 3:30 a.m. and that's going to be the morning, the early hours of today, of tomorrow, better word. The three African champions will also face the co-host Australia and Deputized Republic of Ireland in the Group B. Don't forget, we are champions of the African side, 9-time champions. Talk about the FIFA Women's World Cup. No one will take away anything from these ladies. The likes of Asisa Toshola is also very much in that very well. Now, still talking about the Falcons, the Super Falcons traveled to Melbourne this morning for their Group B clash against Olympic champion Canada at the 23 FIFA Women's World Cup. The encounter is billed to take on where the 9-time African champion will stay at the Marriott Hotel Avenger Park in Melbourne. The Super Falcons are expected, to return to their base. That's the Sofitel Hotel, Central Brisbane, after the game for the Melbourne Rectangular Stadium will take place on Friday morning. That's for 3:30 a.m. So you need to get glued to your TV. Please don't miss out on that very game. I think I like to say, I started by saying a whole lot of pressure for these ladies. The Super Falcons are expected to return to their base. Don't forget, they will be at Sofitel Hotel Central, and that's in Brisbane. But what more can be said about Round the Wild Drum? I think he's going to be under pressure on this. Not long you talk about having issues with the NFF, and right now, this man needs to make sure these ladies come out to be very okay in giving out a very wonderful delivery on the game. I respect them so well. I know them very well. I know what they can actually get to do. I know they have experience. I know they have some of the top-notch ladies who are in the team, the likes of A.B. Onome, who is 40. She's placed in the central defense role, and also she's very, very wonderful key player for that side. She's 40, but she doesn't really look at age, and that's just what it is. So we play against the Canadian champion, and that will be a very, very, very dicey game because Canada are the Olympic champion, and also we are the 9-time African champion. So let's see a very big encounter come next. Now, also, this is coming. Sounds very funny. I saw this and I decided to bring it on the TV, because an official of the Nigerian Football Federation has revealed to report that the Super Eagles gaffer Jose Pesero currently ranks among the highest paid coaches in Africa, and the burden is heavy on the football willing body. Talk about the NFF. The Portuguese-born coach, 63, who is on $70,000 monthly salary, earns higher than the Walid Regragui of Morocco, the coach who made history for the African side for leading Morocco into the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar back in 2022. The Moroccan-born coach also earns around $60,000 monthly, and that fat salary of the coach who was hired to replace Austin Eguavoen was also, it's been talked about and just might be relieved of the job following the inability of the Super Eagles to qualify for the World Cup in Qatar. And it's a very heavy burden. That amount of money looks very big on the federation, and we are, according to them, saying we are concerned over his performances since he took over. The chieftain of the NFF, The Voice, should report that the NFF made inquiries about what other federations pay their respective national team coaches, and it was discovered that only a couple of national team coaches in Africa earn more salaries than our own very much Portuguese international tactical Jose Pesero. How the Portuguese coach was contracted with too many privileges is disturbing, and we may have to revisit the contract. We may also have to sit down with Pesero and have a talk over the salary issues after our last AFCON qualifying match against Sao Tome and Principe coming up in September. We may also look to have other options ahead of the 26 World Cup qualifiers in November. Pesero has already led the Super Eagles to qualify for the 23 African Cup of Nations slated for Ivory Coast in January 2024 with a match to spare, but the team performance fell short of the expectations of Nigeria. Only Egypt national team coach Rio Victoria on $200,000 USD monthly, and also perhaps the Tunisian coach Jaleh Kadri earns more than Jose Pesero. I know this is going to be a problem, trust me. He's earning high, and revisiting of a contract, I don't think personally, if I want to sound for myself, if you want to revisit my contract, then maybe I would want it to be in a positive way, but let's not hide it. The Super Eagles don't play fancy football. They don't play a football that I enjoy, maybe my opinion though. And also, Jose Pesero, he has managed a whole lot of clubs on the Portuguese side. He's a good manager, no disrespect to him. But over time, we've not really seen the best of the Super Eagles. We play some teams and we tend to struggle. and right now he has qualified us he was given an ultimatum at the point, and they say if you win, take us to Ivory Coast, we'll have to keep you staying. But if you lose, then you have to go. Now he's taking us to Ivory Coast. And I don't know if with this talk and the back and front moving on, I don't know if Pesero will be the one to take us to Ivory Coast. But don't forget the 2026 World Cup is coming up, the qualifying game, and that's in November. So Pesero's salary would be revisited, and let's see how that goes. Now talk about tennis on the show, where Chinese star Zhang Chuai retired in tears and suffered a panic attack after a controversial line call in her fourth round match at the Hungarian Grand Prix. The second, I don't know, this doesn't sound good though. The second seed was level 5-5 in the opening set against local opponent Amaris Toth, where she hit a cross-court forehand that appeared to land on the line. It was controversially called out by the line judge, though, with the chair umpire stepping down to inspect the mark of the clay cuts. The umpire affirmed that the line judge's decision, but after a camera zoomed in, the ball appeared to have left the mark on the line, suggesting that the decision was incorrect. Zhang Chuai was left licensed and began urging the umpire to overturn her call. The China star then requested to speak with the tournament supervisor, before the game continued for one more point. Though Zhang Chuai won that point, the match continued to be overshadowed by the controversial line call. Told, as the name, then took matters into her own hand, walking up to the mark and then scoring it out on her shows, and that left Zhang Chuai furious, as she could be heard saying, wait, keep the mark, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Then Toad was unrepentant, replying, maybe sounds sarcastic, I don't know, because you are making problem, that's why. During the changeover, Zhang Chuai also looked visibly distressed when the official called onto the court to check on her. A tearful Zhang Chuai then took the decision to retire, shaking hands with the umpire and Toad before pointing at the section of the crowd who had, booed. They've been booing her after the incident. Told meanwhile immediately lifted her arms in celebration. Then Zhang Chuai later took to social media to reiterate her frustration with the umpire's seemingly wrong decision, and she thanked her fans for their support of her after what was a difficult day for the world number 28, and that's for Zhang Chuai, like in the name. Yeah. Moving away from that very story, away from tennis, let's talk about the boxing arena. Undefeated heavyweight Jed Anderson is not ruling out the possibility of a huge upset on October 28th when WBC World Champion Tyson Fury faces Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia. Ngannou, a former UFC heavyweight title champion, is making his pro debut in the boxing ring. Now the 10-round bout will be non-title encounter. The last time a major controversy on a crossover power boxing match took place was back in 2017 when Floyd Mayweather came out of retirement to score a stoppage win over UFC superstar Conor McGregor. McGregor started very, very fast, but was afterwards, a few rounds, he appeared to be exhausted, with Mayweather breaking him down from a TKO win in the 10th. While Ngannou is a tremendous underdog in the fight, Anderson is giving the MMA veteran a puncher chance in a heavyweight fight, Anderson told reports. He has a puncher chance at the end of the day. If he lands that punch, Tyson Fury might not get back up. I do believe if he thinks correctly and he goes back to watch the Conor McGregor fight with Floyd Mayweather, he's going to try to last as long as he can. And somebody who does that is going to have his power throughout the entire fight, just like Charles Martin did. Earlier this month, Anderson overcame his compatriot's toughest test to date when he picked up a 10-round unanimous decision over former IBF World Champion Charles Martin in an effort to stay very well active. Anderson is already scheduled to return to the ring next month, and when he faces Andrei Rudenko on August 26th. If I could fight every month, I would. Anderson told reports, in my opinion, I don't think this is an old school mentality. I think it's a mentality everyone should have. I think people get better and they go through the necessary fight and bright lights and everything. People have got, experienced fans, crowds all around them, and that's from this top-notch man. But quickly, let's get on the next story to give it to you away from boxing. Let's see how this goes. Okay, let's talk about the UFC now. Israel Adesanya on the verge of the news now. The UFC middleweight title grudge match between the champion Israel Adesanya and challenger Dricos Du Plessis may be scratched before it gets signed. Adesanya uploaded on Twitter in a video post on Wednesday saying that the South African challenger hurt his foot and can't fight him at the UFC 293 in September. As a result, he said top middleweight contender Sean Strickland is now his first choice, and Duplessis steps back in the line, and that's for the UFC. Let's quickly move on to the next story. I've got this one. Wrapping up the show, let's talk about football now. Manchester United could be close to a decision on the future of suspended first-team star, the Mason Greenwood. The Red Devils have been deliberating about Mason Greenwood, who was released by the Crown Prosecution Service and not charged after a long-term investigation. According to reports, United may be prepared to allow Mason Greenwood leave the club on loan. He has not been told to return to training though, and United are exploring places for him to move temporarily. The club also may believe that it's the best way for him to reintegrate into football again, away from the pressure of United. He then will be back again to Ten Hag's team, first team back in January of the 2024-2025 season. That's for Mason Greenwood. It sounds very good. I'm saying him back again. Nobody's saying we love, like I love to say, bad is bad. Nobody's saying I'm encouraging hating a woman. Nobody wants to see that. But this is Mason Greenwood we talk about. Don't forget, just had a baby not long with his girlfriend. And this same Mason Greenwood has been on the news. Maybe Atalanta might be getting to sign him. Now, let's go on to the next story now. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta is an inspiration to DC United coach Wayne Rooney said. As the two Premier League legends go head-to-head in the friendly when Arsenal play MLS All-Stars, Rooney heaped praise on Arteta while they were rival at the league. When Rooney was at Manchester United, Arteta was also playing for Everton, an Arsenal player. There is a mutual respect as well. He's done incredibly, really very well, the former United striker told pre-match press conference. As a young coach, it's great to see, of course, coaches who have their own ways and also their own styles and who have their own identities, and it's been fantastic, and I'm sure working with Pep Guardiola helped him massively, as well. He's someone who, there is where you want to get, he's someone who I respect well. He's someone who does it very well. But quickly away from the news of Wayne Rooney, let's get on this one now where World Cup, no, not World Cup, UEFA Champions League finalist player, left fullback Fede Di Marco has, heaped praise on some of the players. Inter Milan fullback Fede Di Marco is happy to have joined pre-season training. Di Marco, who was at Inter Milan, who played in the final against Manchester City, has also welcomed new signings Marcus Thuram and also David Fratesi. He said after so many days of vacation, it's always nice, just so nice to go home every 4 days. Always nice. Fratesi and Thuram are two players who will give us a big hand over the years. I've been lucky enough to have teammates who have been helping the team grow very well. Last season was a great one. Beyond the championship, we won 2 cups, and also we reached the Champions League final coming from Fede Di Marco. He said this year must be a starting point to work in the best possible way and also achieve important results coming from Fede Di Marco. And this is all I can give on the show. Lastly, Arsenal new signing Jurgen Timber had a feeling that he had to join a club this summer. He said, I got so many options, but the Dutch centre-half has been linked to Arsenal Premier League side in the past match. And he said, I had so many options, but I chose to be an Arsenal player coming from Jurgen Timber. But this is all we can give to you on the show. It's on Thursday morning, but I'll return back for you hopefully on a Friday for sporting news again. But majorly the FIFA Women's World Cup, please, I beg you, I indulge you, please don't miss out on that very much game. The Nigerian Super Falcons will play their own very much game, 3:30. I'm not trying to be biased though, but I'll stand very strong for these ladies to do it right. Around the world, I'm all the way. Let's see how it pans out. And this is where I will go. Voice of the People TV. My name is Kizzy K. Good morning. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye for now.